Hello, everyone. It's time for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 366, season 15. Today's date is September 28th, 2024. And welcome to the show. On today's program, I'm going to talk about this classic, long-forgotten dessert from Burger King called Ice Brr Grr. Last time I was talking about the triple ripple what was it? The ice cream cone. Now it's Burger King. That from McDonald's, that is. Excuse me. And then now it's Burger King's turn, and I'm going to talk about the Ice Brr Grr. And it didn't last very long. And I'll talk about my memories of this particular treat. Also, I'll talk about the TV anniversaries this month. There's a lot of them. I'm going to talk about maybe one from the 50s and a lot from the 60s. This will be part one. Part two will come tomorrow because there's a lot to cover. So part two will probably I'll be covering the 70s and probably the 80s. So this will be fun. There are TV shows that I grew up watching as a kid in Chicago. So like I said before, this will be a lot of fun to discuss my memories of those. Okay. But first, we're going to go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Wishbone Deluxe French Dressing. Okay. And this commercial is from 1977. Okay. And so sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
Just as an expert coppersmith only puts his name on fine copper, we only put the Wishbone name on fine salad dressing, like Wishbone Deluxe French Dressing, a mingling of rare spices, herbs, and tomatoes with golden oil and vintage vinegar, velvety smooth and mild, perfectly blended for true French flavor your family will love. Wishbone salad dressing is the only thing we put our name on.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Wishbone Deluxe French Dressing. This was released in 1977. I love salad dressings. French is not my favorite. My favorite is Thousand Island. Who doesn't love salads? Well, I'm Greek. The standard was vinegar and oil. It's great and it's healthy, but it's dull for me. So I like a little variety like that. So I like Thousand Island, like I said before. There was ranch. I like that. There's Russian, Italian, blue cheese. Oh, I like blue cheese. Hidden Valley Ranch. That's a very popular one. So the company's still around, and they still crank out a lot of flavors. Sometimes they add bacon in it, or low sodium, low calorie, whatever you want. It's fine. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about a very unusual item that came out of Burger King in the mid 1970s. That is, it's Ice Brr Grr. That was a dessert. Also, I'll talk about the TV debuts this month. We'll talk one from the 1950s, and the rest we'll do all of them from the 1960s. This will be part one. Part two I'll talk about tomorrow, if it's available. If not, Tuesday. We'll see. Before I get started, I want to mention one thing. Yesterday, I went to the Orland Park Library, and I went to a presentation. And there was Brett Vickery, and she does the traffic reports on WGN Morning News on Channel 9 in Chicago. And she talked about her life, and where she went to school and all that. Her husband was there. Not a great crowd, but very nice. And people were very nice. And she talked for about over an hour. And then she asked if you want to take a photo of her. That's great. So we had to wait in line. And I did. And the minute I came in, you have to register online to go. So when I entered the room, you say your name, and then I sat down. She saw me, and she recognized me immediately. She just looked at me like that. And anyway, I waited in line, and when it was my turn, I said hi. She said, "Oh, Pete, it's nice to see you again," because I met her before at the St. Patrick's Day party that WGN held at 115 Bourbon Street out in Marionette Park. They have it every year. And it's the first time for her to be there, and it's the first time for me to be there. And I met some of the B team members. And that was a thrill. And she said, "Oh, yeah," like I said before, she said, "Oh, it's nice to see you again." We talked for a bit, and we had a photo taken. Her husband took the photo, and then I posted it on social media, and then people loved it. We looked good. I had a couple complaints, One, first of all, they complained about my T-shirt. Well, what was I supposed to wear? A suit? Listen, there were other people there that were a little more sloppier than I was, so I just ignore it. But I figured out why. My T-shirt was kind of wrinkled because I was wearing a seatbelt, and I lost weight, so the T-shirt is kind of big. So that's all right. Anyway, I had a great time. I really did, and I watch them every day. It's a thrill. I had all right. So right now I'm going to talk about Ice Brr Grr, and this is now it's Burger King's turn. Last time I talked about the triple ripple ice cream cone for McDonald's. Now it's Ice Brr Grr's turn for Burger King. It's Burger King's turn. That is. Excuse me. I remember this product. It didn't last very long. I'll tell you my memories of this particular item. This came out in the mid-1970s. I would say 1974, 75. We moved into the Ashburn neighborhood around this time, about 50 years ago. And the church I go to, St. Constantine and Helen, was still in a temporary location on Damon Avenue by 83rd Street. We were there for a couple of years. We moved out of Stony Island over there, and we had a brand new. They were building a brand new church. Excuse me, on Palos Hills. Kinky. That's dumb. It's Palos Hills. Okay, and it was on the corner. People, if you pass by, you know what it is. I went to school there. I still go to church there, and as a matter of fact, I'm going there tonight. There's a party. Anyway. So when the church moved there in 1975, it was still being built in a way. The gymnasium was used as a church. It took a while for it to be completed, but once it's done, then they started using the gymnasium, for basketball games or any athletic events. And I remember kids who used to go to the Burger King that was located west on 111th Street, west of Roberts Road. And these used to get Whoppers and Whalers. Remember Whaler? Chicken sandwiches. I had one yesterday. It was delicious. The original one. Oh, still good. Anyway, I noticed a kid that brought an Ice Brr Grr. And I said to myself, "What is that?" And I asked the kid, I said, "Well, what is that?" He says, "It's a popsicle treat." I said, "Okay." And I remember it was grape. You got a grape flavor. So the flavors came in cherry, grape, lemon, and orange. All right. Then, so one day I went there. I don't know if I went alone. I don't remember. I went to Burger King. I ordered a Whopper, some fries, a drink, and then I tried the Ice Brr Grr. My favorite flavor is out of those is orange. Yeah, I like cherry. That's number 2, and I think grape, lemon would be third, and the other one would be fourth. Grape, that is, or let's see. So it's cherry, grape, lemon, and orange. Yeah, and it had on the product. I had a polar bear. like that. So it was a good treat like that. It didn't last very long. It lasted about 2 years, 2 or 3 years, and then it just disappeared completely. It just vanished. Appropriate for Vanishing Congoland. And it was never to be seen again. So that was not so unusual. I like that. Anyway, so I like finding items when I grew, that have disappeared in the 70s, which I grew up with. And I found that fascinating like that. So I was thinking of the Ice Brr Grr. So anyway, so that was the only time I had it. That was the only time. The Burger King is gone. It's not there anymore. They tore it down a long time ago. Now it's an empty lot or something. There's a Thornton's gas station on the corner. I wish they opened a Greek restaurant there. That'd be great. When all the people from church would have somewhere to eat, and they could just go across the street and have lunch or dinner. No, they had a gas station there. That's fine. It was an empty lot for quite a long time, so that's great. So, one of the items, one of the prizes they had for Ice Brr Grr was. I'll look it up. Let me tell you 1 second. It was called a glacier glider. Yeah, that was what it was. Let me pull it up for you. And it was like a sponge. Someone was like a sponge or something like that. And let's see. Yeah, so here it is. So there's a glacier glider, and it was like a spongy frisbee. You just throw it. And you know what? It's on sale on eBay if you want it. So that's great. If you want to purchase it, for nostalgic sake, why not? So, over the years, they were always discontinued items, not just from Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, you name it. They had those. Wendy's didn't have much toys. No. Only McDonald's and Burger King all through the years, with the Happy Meals. And, if there was a big, huge movie coming out, they had promotional tie-ins with that is. So that's great like that. Okay. So that's my memory of the Ice Brr Grr, which is spelled BRR space GRR. Like that. So that's good. Okay. I'm going to pause for a minute and then, not for a minute, but just for a second. And then when I come back, I'll talk about the TV debuts. It happened one was from 70 years ago, and a lot of them from 60 years ago, and the shows that I grew up with when I was a kid in Chicago. Okay, so I'll be right back, folks. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I am back. Right now, I'm going to talk about the television debuts, for the fall season. I'm going to talk about one from the 1950s and the rest from the 1960s. And the rest for the 1970s or 80s, I'll talk about it next episode because there's a lot to cover. So from the 1950s, one stood out was The Tonight Show. And that started September 27, 1954. And it aired on WNBQ TV, which is WMAQ TV, Channel 5 now. And the first host was Steve Allen. And he was a comedian, an author, wonderful man. He was from Chicago, actually from the South Shore neighborhood, and he entertained us for many, many years, and he died in 2000, I believe. And so he was the first host, and it's nothing like today. It was very quiet. He did some bits, funny bits. He had people on later on. So I think I remember some of the cast members was Don Knotts, is probably his earliest shows. I think he was there. I could be wrong. Anyway, so the Tonight Show, it's I think it was maybe 11 o'clock. I think 11 o'clock or something that started, and now it's 10:30 or 10:35. They started. So he was there until 5 years, not long, and then he left. Before that, he was a panelist on What's My Line in the 50s, and he left that, and then he just venture out to do other things. He had his own show. Multi-talented guy, yeah, like that. And the next person that took over was Jack Parr. A lot of people don't remember him. He was kind of controversial. He lasted from 1960 to like 62, only a couple of years. But I've seen clips of him. I watched a couple of shows. He was okay. He was good. Then he left or got fired. I don't know the whole story. Then they hired Johnny Carson in 1962 in October. And they took a risk on that. NBC did. And he was a little nervous, but he was naturally funny. And he hosted a show from 1962 all the way to 1992. That's a long time. And people loved it because it was a habit of people, after they watch the news, they watch Johnny Carson at night because they need a good laugh, after a long, hard day. And he was amazing and so hilarious. I miss him. I really do. Then when he retired, Jay Leno took over, and he lasted for quite a few years. I don't know the exact date. Then in the 2000s, Conan O'Brien took over because he was after that. But that didn't last long. That was a big mess. He was there for about maybe a year and a half, and then Jay Leno returned, and he was there for quite a while. And then he left again, and now Jimmy Fallon hosts. And so far, Jimmy Fallon does a good job. But he sort of appeals to a younger generation, not like my generation, but that's how it is. You get older. But he doesn't invite like older guests like that. Not really. Other TV talk shows do in a way. So it's and it's the same format. He comes out with a monologue. They do some kind of sketch. Then he introduces guests, and then they have a musical they have a musical guest. They perform at the end of the show, and that's that. That's how it is, and it's still going. I'm surprised they didn't do anything about the 70th anniversary. Not a peep. Who knows? Maybe they'll do something. Anyway, so happy 70th anniversary to the Tonight Show. Okay, right now I'm going to talk about television debuts in 1964. I'm just going to do 1964. I'm not going to do 1974 or, like I said, not going to do 1974 or 84. That's the next podcast episode. So here we go. So I'm going to mention shows that we know about or remember. There are some that are totally forgotten. So here we go. First one was 12 O'Clock High. That's based on the movie. I think it was with Gregory Peck. That lasted about a couple years. That was aired on ABC, Channel 7. Let's see. The next one is The Addams Family. And that ran for 2 years. That was on ABC. You remember snapping their fingers. That show is great. It's wonderful. It's still funny. I still watch it from time to time. I have it on DVD. And the next one is Another World. That was a soap opera. It aired on Channel 5, WMAQ. This was one of my mom's favorite soap operas, and she still misses to this day. She watched it every day. She still remembers the characters. That went off the air in 1999, I believe. So they have a Facebook group, which is great. That's wonderful. Like that. The next one is Bewitched. It came out the same year on Channel 7. Oh, a classic. I still watch this show. It's still hilarious. It started Elizabeth Montgomery. Then Dick York is Darren. Then you have Oh, well, Elizabeth Montgomery played Samantha, and then Dick York played Darren. Then Dick Sargent took over, and then a big cast. Remember, and that show was a classic. I loved it. It's still hilarious. It's great to see magic performed during the show. That's what I look forward to it. And good writing, good entertainment. Went into reruns forever. I have it on DVD. It's coming out on Blu-ray soon, so I hope it looks good like that. Anyway, next one. Let's see what else. I'm just going to. We have Flipper. I have that. Remember Flipper? They called him Flipper. Flipper. That came out. That lasted about 3 years. I used to watch that on Channel 9. Then he moved to Channel 44, WSNS TV in Chicago in the 70s. They filmed it in Florida, and it was a lot of fun. Next up, a classic, Gilligan's Island. Now, my memories of Gilligan's Island, with the skipper, with the Gilligan skipper. I'm going to sing the song, Gilligan Skipper 2, the millionaire and his wife, the movie star that was Ginger, and the professor and Marianne. So when I used to come home from school in the 70s, this aired about maybe 4:30 in the afternoon, I think, or 4 o'clock, and I couldn't wait to watch it. It was aired on Channel 9 for many, many years, and I never saw it when it aired, and it was okay rating wise when it aired on CBS, but it became a cult. And it became so popular. It's like the Brady Bunch. It still is to this day. And it's still funny. A lot of people think it's silly and all that. But, I loved it. It's escapism, And Bob Denver and Alan Hale Jr. make a great comedy team. And it's great. I loved it. I really love this show. And I could watch it all day. It's a lot of fun. All right, next one is Gomer Pyle USMC. That's a spinoff of Andy Griffith Show that starred Jim Nabors as Gomer Pyle. He enlisted to the Marines. That was a good show. I never saw it when it aired, but I remember watching the reruns on Channel 44 in Chicago. And I have it on DVD too. I have that. All right. Of course, there was a cartoon series, Johnny Quest. I used to watch this on Saturday mornings, the reruns. It only lasted 1 year. And it's that theme song is great. I love it, and they went to exotic locations like that. And that was fun to watch like that. It really was. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. We also have the Magilla Gorilla Show. I used to watch this on Channel 32, with the other cartoons series. There was Magilla Gorilla, Peter Potamus Show, that premiered too. There was Pumpkin Puss and Mush Mouse, Yippee Yippee and Yahooey. What else? Ricochet Rabbit and Droopalong. I might have missed one somewhere. Breezely and Sneezely. Got that. I must have missed one, so I'll go down the list and I'll probably see. Next one was The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I never saw the show in reruns. I never did. They never showed it much in Chicago until later on in the years. But once it was announced it was going to be released on DVD, I snatched it. I bought it and I started watching it. I loved the show, and it was like a James Bond movie every day, but it's kind of like that. It was a spy show, and it was very popular. It starred Robert Vaughn, starred David McCullum. He just died not too long ago. He was on NCIS, and they had great chemistry. And Leo G. Carroll played Alexander Waverly. He played the head of Uncle. Their enemy was Thrush, and they had all these weapons and all kinds of gadgets like that. So it was a lot of fun. It lasted 4 years. Okay. Next one is a classic, The Munsters. The Monsters premiered that year. I remember watching the reruns on Channel 32. I used to be scared of them. I used to be scared of these people, as a kid. But over the years, I started to like them, and I love the show. It is hilarious. It's they have some great comedy bits. So great lines like that. So it was on Channel 32 for many years, then it moved to Channel 44. Then it bounced around, other stations in Chicago, and I have it on DVD. So whenever I have a chance, if I'm in the mood, I'll watch it. Or if it's on TV, I'll pick up an episode. They had some great classic episodes like that. My favorite is the one where you play baseball, when Herman played baseball. Anyway, let's see what's next. Another one that a lot of people have forgotten was Peyton Place. Now, this was based on a novel. And in the movie that came out in 1957, that starred Lana Turner. And then, so they decided to make a TV series. It aired twice a week on Channel 7 on ABC. I see a few episodes on YouTube, and it's great. It's a good show. I have a few episodes on DVD. It's a great show. Once you get hooked on it, it's like that. But it was one of the biggest primetime soap operas. And it lasted about 4 years. But it was on every week like that, even during the summer, I believe. So Mia Farrow starred in one of her earliest TV appearances. She was on that. So it's great. I hope they release the whole thing. So that's good. Like that. Let's see what else we got. I mentioned Ricochet Rabbit and Droop Along. I did that. I think that's it. One more is Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. That was based on a 1961 movie. And I used to watch this show. I remember seeing the show on Channel 9 when I was very little. And then they hasn't been on reruns since. It's on DVD. They had adventures beneath the sea with a submarine. So it's like a lot of fun. They dealt with sea monsters and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Okay. So I didn't cover all of them because there's some that didn't last very long or they were very obscure. That's saved for my other podcast, TV Oblivion. Someone asked me about whatever happened to that. Well, I've been busy and I put it on hold. So maybe someday I'll resume it. I don't know when. We'll see about that. Okay. So that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about the frozen dessert, Ice Brr Grr, that was introduced from Burger King from the 1970s. Also, I talk about television debuts, one from the 1950s, which was the Tonight Show, and the other shows from 1964 that celebrate their 60th anniversary. This podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are available, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. If you tap the apps on your phone, your tablet, any device, tap follow, you get the latest episode. You'll get, you'll receive a notification for the latest episode. That is, excuse me. Also, it'll be posted on my blog, vanchicagoland.blog. You can click on the link. I'll take it right there. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel. People still ask me, where can I find your podcast? Where can I find your podcast? You can find it on my YouTube channel. Type in the search engine, Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast, or my name, Pico Sans. You will find it. Click on subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. And you can listen to the latest. You receive a notification for the latest episode. Also, you can listen to previous episodes as you wish, or you have time. Also, be shared on my social media accounts: Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Reddit. Also, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. I think I cover them all. All right. So, this is Pico Stanis, your host for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me today. It was raining today. Now it's stopped because of the hurricane. That was nasty. Let's see. I want to mention one more thing. I found out this week that the entire series, I Love Lucy, is coming out on Blu-ray. And I can't wait to see it. It'll be released in November. Oh, I can't wait to get it. They only released the first 2 seasons, but I want to get the whole thing. They include all of them, even the Lucy Dizzy comedy hours, even the pilot, everything. I can't wait. I can't wait because I'm a huge Lucy fan. This is a dream come true. I don't care how much it costs. I'm going to buy it. That'd be a great birthday present because my birthday's next Friday. I wish it was earlier than that, but no. All right. So, like I said, this is Speaker Science, your host for Vanished Chicagoland Stories. Thank you for joining me again. And I will probably do another podcast episode tomorrow. We'll see. And here's bye-bye for me. And here's a little traveling music from Ray Rayner saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.